Welcome to Work Hard. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Jason. Now this is podcasting.
Yo! Welcome back! We're here again. It's Work Hard. You did it. Hello. Welcome again to the highest value, greatest rated show on earth, Work Hard. Now we are back at it again. 2 weeks in a row, baby. 2 weeks in a row. I guess the new upload day is Monday. Now that it's my show 100%, new upload day is Monday. And this puck, it bothers me. If you're watching and not listening, you'd see this puck on my headset. There's a mirror right here, and the light from my green screen bounces off the mirror and onto this puck, and it makes it green. And so I can't have a good color, like I don't know what you would call that, maybe a color grading, or I can't have the green screen look good and also not have this puck catch light. Oh, it's doing it right now. Nice. Okay. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate that to no end. We got a big show today. It's the same as every time. I say that all the time, and I just want to be honest with you. We got a lot going on, dude. We got a lot going on over here. My wife and I have decided that we can no longer pursue the growth of our family by staying in our cabin, by staying on our property. Well, I decided that. But it's too hard to have kids in our cabin, so we're selling it. We're selling it, baby. We're selling the cabin. We're going to move into town. We got a nice little spot that we have identified. It looks beautiful. So pray for us that we can buy that. What else? What else is going on? We're streaming. I wouldn't expect me to see a lot of streams this week, but whatever. Those are announcements up front. Anything else? No. Okay, let's dive in. Today might be a short one because I'm pressed for time. I always say that, and then I spurg out and talk for an hour. But I'm actually pressed for time today. I got a lot going on. I let this property go. This property has been unmaintained for like 3 years, and it's bad, and it massive attention. So I got to get some. I got to deploy some boys. I got to deploy some. I got to get some guys. Do you have any guys? Hold on. I got guys. No, I mean guys. You need guys. You need guys. What is this? This is me right here.
Like, you guys have movers, but do you guys have guys? You know, like real guys.
I need like real guys.
Yeah, they're all guys. All my guys are outside.
Oh, this guy said outside.
What?
I just came from outside. I didn't see no real guys out there. My guys are outside for real. I'm trying to show you.
No, they're all like literally outside, like waiting in the front.
No, I get it. Obviously, like, you guys have guys. Like, there's guys out front.
Guys out front.
I'm trying to show you the difference. Like, my right-hand guy is a guy. Feel me? You're not getting it?
You're saying guy, but you don't mean guy. What's guy? Who's
No,
guy?
I mean guy.
Oh.
No, I mean guy. Guyzarini.
Guyzarini.
You know, a geyser, a guy that does what a guy does. A guy's guy.
A guy's guy?
Yeah, Guy Lafleur. Guy Fieri. No? It's not making sense to you? Maybe I'm not even speaking.
A guy's guy. All right, that's what I need. I got to get a Guyzarini. Okay, I got to get guys. I need guys. So I'm getting some guys. We're deploying some guys. We're making phone calls, getting some guys. Let's see. What else? Nothing, dude. I think we just dive into it. This is a continuation, I think, maybe of some of the stuff we talked about a couple episodes ago with who's in charge and how you should interact with girls. But this is something that I want. This episode is dedicated to the huzz, all right? To the girls. I want them to know that I see you. I understand. I can hear you. So this episode is for you. The very rare episode aimed at women. This episode is aimed at women. And I want to talk about when you choose your man. There does seem to be this idea started for me with watching the movie Legend, and the love interest in that movie, she was super pumped about the glamour and the romance of dating Tom Hardy's character, which was like a 1960s, 1970s gangster in London. And she was very happy about all the things that came with his lifestyle. For her, nice car, club owner. She got to hang out at the club. Let me check my audio's spiking on my thing. Can we, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not going through all that. She was really excited about many of the things that came with the glamour of her life, or came with the glamour of a gangster's life, but she did not like that he was a scary, violent man. And so she wanted him to go straight. And then ultimately, in a grand gesture of proving how much of a victim of her own decisions she is, she kills herself. And so I was watching that movie, and this thought kind of kicked off of how often I witness and how much it was my experience, and how much you see, maybe people talking about it. You see older women that are like this. They never grow out of this. I know many, many older women who are like this. And the idea basically is that you're attracted to a man partially because of his strength and his willpower and his ability to say no, his ability to tell the world no, his ability to stand up against the world, to be an actor in the world, to have high agency in the world. And then you experience that will and that power in your home. It gets brought to bear against you. And instead of recognizing that will for what it is, you go, well, I didn't mean this. I didn't mean you were going to tell me no. I didn't mean you were going to be able to tell me we're not doing that. That's not what I meant. No, you're supposed to do that out there. And then you come in here and I'm in charge. And the reason why this is devoted towards women is because I have seen that disassemble peace and happiness in a home many, many times before. And I'm having a lot of thoughts that are happening right now. You guys know that I start to think while I'm talking, and it layers on top of each other, and it's hard for me to stay on the path coherently. We miss Jason. I've seen this rob families of peace. I've seen this rob women of peace. It robs men of peace, but I don't think it robs men of peace to the same degree that it robs women and their children of peace. I think men have the strategy and the capacity to just kind of turtle in. And so the henpecking just kind of, it hits the outer defenses, and that's kind of obnoxious. But then your inner self is on the golf course. Your inner self is in front of the computer, or, in front of the TV, not caring not hearing that. And you think that that's maybe empowering as a woman, or you think that somehow that is making you equal. You feel unequal to the man. And so you think that behavior is going to make you equal. But as all actions taken out of insecurity, it will always facilitate the exact opposite effect of what you want. It will just drive a deeper wedge. It will not bring you closer. You will not take, a stand shoulder to shoulder with your man and fight the world together as a team. That's not what it will do. It will drive you apart. It will fracture and destroy your family. It's bad. It's not a good idea. And so, I kind of want to talk about the nature of that, the nature of men, to kind of describe to you what men are thinking and what they're like. And then I want to maybe help you begin to process your own desire to shit test your guy and to henpeck him. Why is that there? How do you counteract that? How do you practice submission? And then finally, I want to have a moment of, calling the guys to task, because that is ultimately their fault. It is ultimately their problem. And they have allowed themselves to be henpecked. They have allowed themselves to be beaten down, and they need to reassert their control over their house and their woman. And how a girl can go about, encouraging her husband to do so. Girls have a very tough go of it when you have a husband who's fallen short. I do think if you have a wife that's fallen short and your husband, it's much easier, because direct action is in your toolkit, from the get-go, from the start. Whereas if you're a wife whose husband is not acting as he ought to act, direct action is very difficult and many times inadvisable. And so it can be tricky. And I may even fumble when we get to that part of the episode. I may even fumble in kind of describing to you what your options are and how to push him into being the man that he ought to be. But again, this show is always been aimed at young people. And so for the most part, the context of this episode is going to be aimed at young women and the first few years of your marriage, and how to spot and identify your feelings and thoughts and behaviors that are going to facilitate this arrangement 20 and 30 years down the line. If your marriage survives, you acting that way. And again, I don't want to lay this at the feet of girls. I don't want to say, oh yeah, you're ultimately responsible for. I mean, you are ultimately responsible. So I don't want to say that you're not, but listen, the man is the head of the house. If you're being allowed to henpeck your man, somebody's not stepping up. So I don't want girls to stress out about this. I don't want you to, no girls are going to hear this, but even if a guy hears this and feels convicted and then shows it to his woman and whatever, I don't want you to stress or internalize this as you're somehow less valuable as a wife, or it is a failing. It is a moral failing, but I don't want you to ruminate on that. And I would imagine if this episode is relevant to you, you also don't have a guy who's going to help you not ruminate, who's going to teach you how to not ruminate on your feelings. So I would just really, I would really encourage you to try your best not to get too spun out if you do hear this. Okay. So I want to start this off. There's a Sopranos clip that I think encapsulates this really, really quite well. So we'll start here. To give you some context, all right, Tony Soprano is a thug and a criminal who has his own problems, right? He has infidelity issues. He's got all these, whatever. He's a thug, all right? He's a gangster. But his wife married him knowing that. His wife married him knowing he was in the mob, knowing what that meant. She has all this, you're unfaithful to me or whatever, but she married him knowing that these guys all have girlfriends and she knew the lifestyle, okay, when she got into it. And she got into it because, he'll talk about that here. But she got into it, and now she's dissatisfied. She's found out that those things that drew her into that lifestyle actually mean nothing. And she's become quite unsatisfied. But she's demanding that she gets all the benefits of the arrangement with none of the drawbacks. And so this is Tony's response.
The only reason you have anything is because of my fucking sweat. And you know every step of the way exactly how it works. But you walk around that fucking mansion in your $500 shoes and your diamond rings. And you act like butter wouldn't melt in your mouth. And you don't want it to get ugly. Too late.
I want what I am entitled to.
You're entitled to shit. She's ready to order.
She's ready to order. Hey, she's ready to order. Hey, get this hoe a drink. She's ready to order. All right. So here's the thing. You don't want it. Obviously, I'm not saying that the example of Tony Soprano is like a good one to follow for young men. But what I am saying is that these are good. This is a good analogy. This like gangster, I think in gangster movies, or in like even like cop movies where the cop is like hyper focused on catching the bad guy and his marriage suffers a little bit and his wife leaves him, whatever. It's a very good example for the prowess of men, generally speaking. So I know that this is going to be a contested statement I'm about to make, but it's reality, and so you can contest it all you want, but it will remain to be true. And like I often say, I'm not here to argue with anybody. If ever the show blows up or I'm ever anything on the internet, which I'm not, but if I ever was, there will be zero debates. I'm not a debate guy. I'm not going to hash this out with somebody. There are smarter, better men than I who can do that. I'm here to relay this information in like a simpler form for like retards to understand. And so there will be there. I'm going to move this over here because this puck thing is bothering me. And if I move the thing over here, then the lighting for the puck is resolved. Okay. So here's all right, we're back. Here's the statement. Part of what will attract you to a man as a woman is his prowess. Maybe not explicitly physical, although that will certainly be an aspect of it. I think that can be deprioritized a lot with women, which is fine. In the modern era, you don't need to have a guy who's gonna, they're guns, so you can have a guy that's not gonna be able to roundhouse kick someone in the face. But you do need to have a man who is emotionally, and as far as willpower goes, agency-wise, quite powerful. And you're going to be attracted to that, all right? You're going to be attracted to the stability. You're going to be attracted to the effectiveness. you're going to be attracted to many things about that. And a Guyzarini, okay? A guy that does what a guy does. That kind of guy is going to be able to turn around and confront you, have conflict with you, challenge you in ways that are going to be quite uncomfortable, and it's not going to really derail him that much, which is going to be very frustrating to you. It is going to be excessively frustrating to you when you're in a deeply emotional state to be confronted with somebody who is not, especially when your perception is that they ought to be very emotional. And so you need to understand something very clear about men, which is that men, well-regulated men, often become less and less emotional in the moment. The higher the stakes get, the higher the pressure gets. This is, if you're an evangelical girl, I'm sure you've had this idea beaten into you, but in a gayer, more feminine way, and so it's harder for you to process this and really let it sink into your skull. That men and women are very different. Women have been designed by God to engage in very deep, very complex social arrangements. They've been designed by God to manage multiple things at one time, multiple kind of not easy, but multiple shallow things at once. The best example I can give you is that when I come to sit down after work and I'm in the home with my children and my wife and we're playing, my wife can very easily manage the baby while watching the toddler and hear something from me. It's very easy for her to do. She can do it all three at the same time while making dinner or something, you know? And that's, maybe it's not super easy for her to do. You know, maybe it's a challenge, but that's, I straight up, I will spaz out. I'll have a meltdown. I can do dinner. I can do the kids, but I can't do both. I can do dinner and listen to your day, but I can't do the kids and listen to your day. And when I do the kids, I can't hold the baby and then fully actively play with my oldest daughter. Like she wants to play some game where we're running around or whatever, and I got the baby. And that is a unique and wonderful thing that women can do, right? You can maintain the in your head, you can memorize and maintain the narrative structure of like multiple families at once. So you know what the Smiths are doing, where they need you're friends with Mrs. Smith. She's spoken to you. You guys, you know their needs, what's going on with them, when they can hang out, when they can't. You have a loose understanding of their schedule. You also know the Joneses and their schedule loosely. You're friends with Mrs. Jones. You've got, oh, well, they just did this and they're going to be out of town over here. And women have all, they can maintain all of that information in their heads for like weeks at a time. You can track the different lives of all these people. That's why when you sit in the car and you go, hey babe, do you remember so-and-so from college? We had a Bible study with them, or, you know, we partied with them or whatever, what have you. And he goes, no. Okay. That's because your husband has Asperger's. That's how you have to think about it. You have to think about men as if they all have Asperger's. That's like the best way for you as a woman to quantify in your head the person you're dealing with. You're dealing with a person with Asperger's, and he doesn't care or know about whatever. And that's because he's thinking of one thing at a time, much more deeply. All right. Men men will begin, given a long enough car ride, a man will go deeper than his own thoughts and enter into a world of thinking like in colors, like just pure raw consciousness on a long enough car ride. Okay? You got to understand that this million mile an hour thinking in words, like that doesn't occur for men at all. And so when, especially like if you're in a long car ride, if you're driving to church for 45 minutes or whatever, and 20 minutes into that drive, you hit him with, hey babe, do you remember that couple from 4 years ago? You are rupturing like a intense moment of meditation. And it just takes a minute for him to come out of that. All right. Now I think a really phenomenal place women can get to is just learning to talk without expecting him to come out of that. That's a C.S. Lewis thing. Men are made for talking to, especially when they're reading. Anyways, so you've got all these, your mind is a intricate and beautiful web of thoughts and feelings. A man's is a room of boxes. It's a room of boxes. So when it's time to address the things in this box, he calmly pulls the box out, opens it up, and begins to unpack everything in a detailed, intimate, deep way. He uses all of the things in that box. He addresses all the things in that box until they're no longer needed, in which when he puts them all up, closes the box, packs the box away, and brings out another box. What that allows men to do is get shot at, get screamed at, experience grievous bodily injury, all manner of very intense experiences, and stay very calm. Okay, that's to take it back to what we were originally saying. So the weakness of the beautiful spider's web that is your mind, woman, is that you're very easy to derail. You're very easy to spin up. Your emotions are high. You're a highly neurotic being, and there are weaknesses with the box analogy for men, but we're not talking about those today, so I'm not going to bring them up. So one of the things you're going to experience very early on in your marriage is that interaction. And you're going to be highly tempted to evoke an emotional response to push and pester and peck until you break the boxes down. And all the things in the boxes fall out onto the floor. His mind becomes cluttered, and you break that sense of equanimity. It's shattered. And in a young man who's undeveloped, that can still be that can be very easy. And so it is important that you guys grow each other. It's important that you learn together how to be a man and how to be a woman married to each other. And that is part of what we're talking about today. But it is very important early on in your marriage that women quickly adapt to, but it's very important for both, for a man and a woman to very quickly adapt to each other. It's of equal importance on both sides. But again, we're talking about women today, so we're not really going to talk too much. Well, I hammer all the time. I hammer them all the time. I hammer the guys all the time. Go back and watch all the episodes. Okay, I call them losers. I call them gay. You're acting like a female. Man up. This is why you're doing this. You need to be doing it this way. I hammer these guys all the time. Today, I know that in the modern era, it is very difficult for a young woman to hear anything that isn't, you go, girl. But that's not what we're going to get today. And so it's going to be tough. But you're strong, right? You're strong, right? That's what you say all the time, is how strong you are, right? And I could say this to a man's face and he'd just blink at me. So that's what you're going to do, right? You're going to be strong. You're going to be focused. You're going to listen. Give me a second. Let me reorder my thoughts here. I'm going to try to stay on track. So I'm trying to stay on target. Let me stay on target here. Give me. This is the point of the episode. There are this stability that men have, this ability to put things in boxes, this brutality that men are capable of, removed or not. These are two things that you as a young woman, whether you want to admit it or not, are going to be looking for in a partner. You're going to be looking for your Indian chief who's capable of great violence and is very emotionally stable. When you get into your marriage, years into it, months into it, you are going to be confronted with that exact emotional, mental arrangement aimed at you in your marriage. And it is going to be quite uncomfortable. You are going to have to come to a place where you understand that you have benefited greatly from this or will benefit greatly from this, and you attempt to destroy it at your peril. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. You cannot have this man be an indomitable force of good in the world and then come into your home and not remain calm and not tell you no and not be capable of standing up to you to give you whatever you want whenever you want it. You cannot expect that. And that's the Tony Soprano analogy I want to make. She loves all the results of Tony's behavior. She loves all the results of Tony's brutality, of his hot-headedness, of everything he does, of his strategic mind, of all the stuff that goes on out in the world. She loves the results of that, but doesn't want it in her home. Doesn't want it aimed at her. Because it's uncomfortable. Now, obviously the analogy is it's not one-to-one because we're talking about, criminality and unfaithfulness. That's not what I mean. But you can extrapolate out the implications of that environment and lay them over a Christ-like arrangement. And so it is. What time are we at? 45 minutes? Okay. All right. I got to wrap this up, huh? Your response. What's your response? Okay. Let's say, I don't remember what the 3 phases of the episode were going to be at the beginning, but we'll say it like this. The practically speaking, what this is going to look like is it is going to look like a man who is not afraid to look at you in the face and while you're in the middle of trying to henpeck him or say, I don't think we should do it this way. We should do it this way. He's not going to be afraid to raise the hand and say, be silent, woman. There's a time for discussion. There's a time for orders. We have had the time for discussion. Now the time for orders. Here are my orders to you. It will be very difficult to derail him, very difficult to pull him down into an argument, very, very difficult to sway him, to knock him, to get him to lose frame, as the pickup artist guys say. It is going to be very difficult to get him to lose frame. And as long as he maintains frame, you're on his ship. You are a sailor on his ship. And God has said very clearly, part of your curse as a woman is to want his authority, to want his position, to want to be the captain of the ship. So your reaction to him coming home and having the same ability that he is at the office to look at his boss and say, you're not paying me enough. Right? The practically, what am I talking about? You married a man who's mentally very strong, who's got willpower, who's got agency. He's totally fine to have conflict with his boss, to go in and say, I had to have this conversation with one of my bosses a while ago. They wouldn't give me a promotion. And I had an hour-long conversation that ended with me telling him in this exact tone of voice, you are falling short. You have not held up your end of the bargain. Now, I have no power to make you hold up your end of the bargain. That's on you. But we're not going to enter into this world where we don't talk about and we pretend like everything's copacetic. I'm not gonna sit here and be so agreeable that I don't cause problems for you or make you uncomfortable to get what I want, to get what I know I need. Okay, that's the kind of conversation the man you want, he's going to be able to have that conversation with his boss so that he can bring home more bacon. You owe me money. And I'm not afraid to sit here and have an uncomfortable conversation with you so that you'll get that through your head. I'm brave enough to walk out that door. I'm brave enough to quit. I'm brave enough, strong enough, I have high enough agency to make more money, and you can be a part of that process or not. Right? That's a conversation that a strong man will have with his manager, with his boss, whether it be in an office environment, a trade environment, whatever, you name it. A strong man will have the willpower and the disagreeableness and the ability to sit uncomfortably and have that conversation. But what that also means is that he's going to come home, and if you're 6 nights into having a teething baby who's crying, and for 5 nights because this is how men should always be. You should always lead with gentleness and kindness. And if they're not, then you need to have that conversation with them too. But you're 6-7 nights into a crying baby who won't sleep because she's teething. And for 5 nights, he's rubbed your back. He's been there for you. He's helped you. He's encouraged you. This is very hard. You're a wonderful woman. You're a great mother. You're so patient. You've been doing this. You've had a great attitude. Good job. You're doing fantastic. I know this is hard. And after 5 nights of that, on night 6, you're waking up going, smacking the bed, having a bad attitude. He's going to turn around, look at you and go, woman, correct yourself. You wanted this baby. You wanted this. Don't be ungrateful. Correct yourself. Adjust your attitude. And when you get hit with that, the first time you get hit with that, it's probably going to feel like he hit you. It's probably going to feel, you're probably going to have the same emotional response as if he might as well have just open palmed you in the head. It's going to be the same feeling. But when that happens, you don't get to go, you can't talk to me like that. Yeah, he can talk to you like that. When it's time, that's how he talks to everybody. That's what you married. That's what you wanted. You wanted a strong man, and you got one. And guess what? He's a strong man. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. He's not going to go out into the world and beat it into submission and then come back into the home and be your whipping boy. And if you work to make that the arrangement, you will undo your family. You will undo your family. He will make less money at work. He will be on the golf course more. You will isolate him. You will undo your family. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. If you want a strong man, you're going to get a strong man. And you want a strong man. You do. You do. You feel attracted to it. You feel the pull. Now, often there's a shadow. You have flesh, right? You have a sin nature. The sin nature of a woman doesn't want a strong man. And that is a big thing in the world right now. You want a man who you can boss around. I've seen it. I've seen some of these marriages. I know of one right now. Beautiful woman. Go-getter. Real successful. Strong, smart, great girl. Found herself a whipping boy. And if you stand next to them, you feel like you are a violin having the little cranks on the, whatever the tuning little cranks are. You're just standing there. You're the violin. You're the strings on the violin just getting pulled further and further out of, like, way too far. You're going, I gotta get out of here. And then you run away from them because the tension is too much. I know an old couple who have found ways to survive because they don't believe in divorce. They don't believe it's possible. In many ways, they're very godly people, very virtuous. And they found ways to make their marriage survive, but they are at each other's throat. They are unpleasant to be around. They don't like being around each other. They don't like each other. They live in hell. So what do you do? All right, you're a young woman. You're experiencing this for the first time. What do you do? I think it's important to know the Bible. What does the Bible say? What does God say about my position here? And so I would really encourage you to seek that out, so that you have the training, you have the mental training to lean on, so that when your emotions spike, you can remember, this is what the Lord says. All right, I would encourage you to pray. But I think what I promised you was, because I think what do you do? Paul encourages silence. Paul encourages women to let their gentleness and silence speak for themselves. And I will absolutely tell you, as a man, when I have been incorrect, right? You have this fear of, well, what if he's abusive, right? That's what everybody goes to. What if he's mentally, emotionally abusive? What if he abuses his power? I'll be honest, there have been times where I've taken it too far, where I've been too rough with my wife. I have not been as gentle as I should. And there have been times where my wife has put her foot down and said, you can't talk to me that way. And that makes a problem instantly worse. And there have been times where my wife has just stared at me with little, blurry-eyed tears. And it's like a bucket of water on a fire. I mean, I just go, what have I done? What have I done to this gentle, beautiful little flower? To my wife, to my woman, what have I done? It diffuses the situation instantly. So what can you do? If you're a young woman, you haven't made a bad bed yet, then I think you need to remember what you have been taught by Scripture to do. Okay, and if your husband's a good man, he'll bring you along. He'll bring you along, right? He'll say, "Listen, I shouldn't talk to you this way, but you shouldn't talk to me this way." He'll train you. And it's a man's job to be more like I said at the beginning, it's more direct. Okay? So a man will have he will have a more active training sort of experience with you where he is teaching you, bringing you along, leading you. That's what it means to be led spiritually. I'm sorry, sweetheart. It doesn't mean that he just encourages you to pray. Oh, he encourages you to pray and he reads you the Bible before bed and he does all these things that are like sweet and cute. No. No. It means he trains you like an animal. He rewards your good behavior and he disincentivizes the bad. He trains you like a puppy. And I know that doesn't feel good to hear, but that's the reality of the situation. You can't have your cake and eat it too. He's not going to come home and be Ken, the Barbie doll, for you to be a little princess in a wonderful castle that you've imagined in your head the whole life. We're going to get married and there's going to be like, soft colors on the walls and flowers and he's going to be so nice to me and he's going to like do things and bring me water and like do and it's going to be so wonderful. No. He ought to be nice to you and bring you water. But he's going to raise his hand and go, "Be silent, woman." And in the beginning of your marriage, it's going to be hard, but you ought to remember that that's an instruction given to you by God. Now, what do you do if you're a little bit into your marriage? All right, this can happen very quick. You're into your marriage. You didn't know this before. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to bring you along. Maybe he's not as strong as you thought he was. Maybe he is. Maybe he's very strong, but maybe you're persistent with the henpecking. Who knows? I don't know. Whatever the arrangement is. You've pecked him. You've beaten him down. His head stooped low. He's making less eye contact. Your conversations are shorter. Your sex life is almost completely dead. What do you do? What do you do? I would assume if you're in this environment, if you're going to church, it's because you have prompted him to go to church and you're probably going to one where if you go to the elders, if that's even possible, maybe the church is so big that's not even possible to go to the elders. But if you could go to the elders and say, "Listen, my husband is this way. I need to repent. I've pecked him down to this. We've gotten to this bad place in our marriage. He needs help. Please raise him back up. I need to talk to him and repent to him. We need remediation. I need somebody to come in to help me repent. I've got all this pride. I need to turn my ship around. And in so doing, I hope it will help him turn his ship around. I need prayer. I need assistance. What do I do?" I would assume that if you're in this type of marriage where he's checked out and it feels kind of over, or it feels like it's heading towards being over, or you're in this weird thing where you both don't like each other, but you can't, and it's quote unquote codependency. You don't like that word, but you should be dependent on you guys should be dependent on each other, but you get what I'm saying? It's unhealthy. You've reached an unhealthy stage. You hate each other, but you can't really leave. If you're in that marriage, I would assume the church you're going to, probably pretty soft, probably pretty evangelical, probably pretty you go girl, lots of big hats on stage, lots of, guys wearing whatever. You get the church. You know the church. You're going there. You know it. Okay. it's going to be pretty hard for you probably to reach out to the men of that organization and get help. Okay, when you reach out, they're going to go, you listen to what? Honey, you don't need to be listening to that. You need to be listening to like whatever, like you're fine. It needs to be empowered. What's he doing? Where's he falling short? Okay, so you're probably not going to get a lot of help there. I would say you got to find a church where everyone's like they're just every guy in the church, just his presence, like the way his face is being held offends you. You should go to a place where there's been a lot of clips I've seen recently, like on Instagram, where girls they see a guy with a big truck and they get this impulse. They need to check his ego. Okay, they don't know the guy. They don't know anything about him. He might be the most humble guy in the world, but they are so threatened by his big truck for whatever reason that they have this like passive aggressive desire to go say something to him that's going to knock him down a peg. And you need to go to a church where that's how you feel. That's how you know you're in the right place now. Okay, go without your husband. Do whatever you got to do. You're trying to save your marriage. All right, do what you got to do. Go to this church, find the elders, explain to them you've made some mistakes. Your husband's made some mistakes. You guys are in hot water. It's about to end. This is a Hail Mary. I'm at Protocol Z. Do anything. Help. Help me. All right? Those guys, they'll know what to do. Hopefully. If you're lucky, you know. They'll be gentle. They'll be gentle with you as they ought, as good men should be with the women that they've been charged with. They're going to be gentle but firm. Now, let's say that's not an option. All right? Let's say that just getting assistance from your church is just out of the question. Let's say you're just hearing this for whatever. You're not. But let's say you are hearing this. You're not hearing this. Let's just be honest. You're not hearing this. But let's say you are hearing this. All right? Let's say you did hear this. You don't know what to do. Church isn't an option. What's next? What's the move? First move. This is even before you go to the church. This is full stop. This is everybody in any sin at all times. Full stop. Do not pass go. Do not collect $100. Fall on your face like a dog and repent. That is move number 1. Lord, I have sinned. I do not know what to do. I am at the end of the rope. We have children. Our marriage is over or is ending. Or I can see the end in a few years. I can see where this is going. And I don't know what to do. That's move number 1. Numero uno. Repent. Move number 2. Move number 2. Start with the little things. Start with the little things. Start making dinner. And cleaning the dishes. Start taking household tasks that you've gone, we need to split this evenly. It's not fair if I do all the housework and you don't. Start taking those tasks back. Start reclaiming ownership of your home as the maker of the home. He'll go, it may go unnoticed at first because he's in his own head. Who put him there? Remember that. Who put him there? Who put him so deep in his own head? Start taking little tasks, little things. You don't have to start doing every load of laundry that exists. You don't need to start doing every single dish that hits the dishwasher. Or the sink, rather. But just one day out of the week, take one of his tasks that's supposed to be his thing. If it's woman's work, take it. Don't be taking the trash out or whatever. But you know what I mean. Like, don't be taking things off the honey-do list. Like, he's got to clean the gutters or what. Don't try to don't do that. He ought to be doing those things. But if you know in your heart, and you know in your heart, if you're honest with yourself, you know in your heart what's woman's work in your home. You know very well what is woman's work in your home. And you got him doing it one day a week, one of those things, just do it. And do that for a couple weeks. And then on week 3, start doing 2 things. And on week 4, do 3 things. Slow, gentle, calm. I would advise you to begin to engage in stories about women who are women. Begin to learn how to cultivate real femininity, gentleness. Bring gentleness into your home. That you can do in conjuncture with the taking small items away from him. Maybe bring him a beer. I know that is a high. I can't, dude. You want to turn your marriage around? Friday night when he wants to sit down and watch whatever. If it's Saturday night, he wants to watch UFC. If it's Thursday evening, he wants to watch football. Instead of going, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? The kids need this. Why? Are you going to watch TV? You're just going to sit there? What are you doing? Instead of doing that, bring him a beer. I'm not kidding. It's funny that I'm saying this. This is not a joke. You will right then and there, you will reverse the trajectory of your marriage. If you can cultivate in yourself the gentleness and the humility to go get your husband a beer while he is sitting watching television, if you are in this spot, that I know young people that are in this spot. I know them. Okay? I know like sub 35-year-old couples, married couples who are in this spot. I have already seen marriages end due to this problem. I've already witnessed it. So I know that you're out there, and I know you're out there in droves. You want to reverse the trajectory of your marriage, bring him a beer. He'll go, huh? You'll walk up and you go, here you go, honey. And he'll go, what? What is this? And you go, it's a beer. You don't have to apologize for anything. You don't have to talk to him about anything. It's going to take a long time for you to get to a place where you can say out loud, I'm sorry for doing this. And when you want to try your best to be in a place where he's also going to be like, I'm sorry for my hand in this issue as well. And he may not, you may have to apologize to him first, and it may be months or a year until he's able to recognize that. He's untrained as well. He thinks that the way you guys operate is just how marriages work. But bring him a beer, watch him. He'll go, what? Here. I just noticed your beer. It's a little low. I just wanted to bring you another one. Huh? Just like that. He'll go, what? And then he'll probably cry. He'll go, pull his hat low. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. All right? Gentleness, kindness. You work that in little by little, okay? Now, if you're in real deep and it's really, really bad, I would not recommend immediately throwing sex back into the equation. You trust your heart, pray, do that prayerfully. Sex is as a woman, sex is your most lethal weapon. All right. That's your nuclear bomb. Okay. That's your nuclear bomb. And so you need to be very gentle where you apply that back into your marriage. I don't know that I'm necessarily qualified to even speak to that. I do know for a fact that sex death is absolutely something that's going to happen if this is part of your problem in your marriage. Well, basically any marriage that's having very significant problems is going to end up with no sex. But I do know that reintroducing sex, here's what I can say confidently. Reintroducing sex is a vital part of the process here. It's a vital part of the process. And I do think that this one, like with an infidelity issue, maybe that you need to be more careful with. If somebody's cheated, then not maybe. You do need to be more careful with that. There's obviously going to be a lot of emotions around sex and around, and I do think those can be exacerbated and made worse if you apply that incorrectly. But this is such a common thing, and it's so. I do think this is such an easy problem to solve to begin with. As pervasive and destructive as it is, one of the reasons why it's so tragic is because it's such an easy problem to resolve. So I do think that coming on to your husband in this environment at some point in this process is going to be as powerful as handing him a beer. Like it's going to be that next step at some point in that process. It's going to be that next step in revitalizing your marriage and getting your knight in shining armor back. You want a man to go kill a dragon for you. There's a pretty good way to incentivize him to do that. And so, you want your knight in shining armor back. You want that charming young gentleman back. Throw him some walls. All right. He's going to feel, you'll see the pep in his step. All right. And do it very happily, willingly, very sensually. You come on to him. All right. And that will radically alter your game. All right. But it does, to kind of bring it all back, it does start with you cultivating gentleness and humility. And I say humility because you, modern woman, have been highly trained in the art of testing and pride. Okay. You've been told, what's the, this
Gen Z boss enemy, Gen Z boss enemy, itty bitty cheese in a ball, itty bitty cheese in a ball, 5'3" and an attitude, 5'3" and an attitude, secret product in the trench, secret product in the trench.
Okay. This is probably you right now, and you're thinking, well, what's wrong with that? Women we can do whatever we are. Hey, you're listening to a strange, weird little niche podcast with 200 listeners right now. I would imagine you're pretty desperate. And this...
New friend green and a sneaky link. New friend green and a sneaky link.
This got you to me. Time to make a change, bitch. Time to make a change. All right? Wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. We're hour 20. Damn. I mean, it's fine. I'm going to have to edit out like a ton of this. So, let's wrap it up. Damn, dude. Oh, man. Oh, dude. I wish Okay. There's just I know I can picture in my head the faces of the women that like this episode is in my life personally, that I know, the women that I personally know that like this episode is kind of aimed at. I know so many girls that are like this, and I sit next to their husbands, my friends, while they're watching football, and they say things to me that are not directly, she does this, she does that, whatever, but they say things to me that are you go into the doctor's office, you say, Doc, my head hurts, I've got dizziness or whatever. The doc doesn't need you to come in and say, Doc, I have a brain tumor. You tell them the symptoms, the doctor can go, yeah, all right, I think you got a brain tumor. Let's do some scans. Okay. I'm sitting there at the bar listening to some guy tell me about all these symptoms, and I go, yeah, it sounds like your wife's a bitch. It sounds like you're a weak, you have no spine. Can't stand up to her. I just know so many people that this is the problem. And anyways, sorry. All right, we'll wrap this up. I know so many women this is the problem, and I know that if they were to hear something like this, it's full nuclear explosion. Everybody pays. All right, we're out. We're done. We're done. We're done. I'm going to edit this down. I think there's a large swath this episode can be just taken out. So I don't know how long this will be, but thank you guys for sticking around. I hope that it was useful to whoever hears it. I don't know who will. I think we got 200 or 300 listeners at this point. So thank you guys. Listen, gentlemen, don't let this episode scare you. From the ladies, if you don't have a wife, please go to church, find a good one, marry her, have some children, raise those children in the fear and admonition of the Lord. Do what you got to do. Make more Christians. We are streaming bigly this week because Arc Raiders is like the new map is coming out. So there'll be lots of streams there. Hyper Premium continues to be on Life Support for the time being. So what you're going to get is the podcast and the streams for now. I'm feeling a shift in my gut. I think the wind is changing. I don't know when. I don't know exactly how that will look, but I don't know. There's something. I don't think this is going to be the state that we're in for much longer. So I apologize. I appreciate everybody who has just come to the streams, listens to the podcast, who engages with what little content we are putting out. I really appreciate you guys. We're just trying to keep the channel alive for the time being. But I hope that we're going to get some good actual content out soon. We'll see. But I love you guys. I am praying for you. Jason is praying for you. Please pray for Jason. Jason's got a lot on his plate right now. He's extremely busy. He's extremely preoccupied, hence his absence. Pray for me and my wife as we transition out of this phase in our lives of being in our cabin, and look at buying a new house. I'm going to sell my truck. We're making a lot of changes. On my end. So just pray that I stay level-headed, that my boxes stay coherent and isolated, and I'm able to move my family, move my family in a prudent way through this kind of new chapter in our lives. So please, shouts out there. Guys, we will see you next week. Unless you come by the stream, then I'll see you whenever. I'm going to stream pretty much all day tomorrow. And by the time you see this come out, actually, I'm going to stream all day today. So when you see this, the day this comes out, I'll be streaming all day. And then we're going to be streaming a pretty heavy amount for the rest of the week. Okay. See you next week. Love you. I'm out. Bye-bye.